Paul was a church planter. We know that. His commissioning by the church at Antioch in Acts chapter 13 marks the beginning of this incredible journey of church planting for the Apostle Paul. Over the course of 13 years, Paul embarked on 3 missionary journeys during which he traveled more than 7,000 miles. Just consider that. Paul traveled by foot or horseback 7,000 miles and planted, at least in that time frame, on that one journey, 14 new churches. Paul himself was an aggressive church planter. Not just Paul, but the rest of the apostles were church planters too. The apostles themselves were church planters. In the book of Acts is the account of their church planting ministry. They planted churches with little support from other churches and against great political and religious opposition. Ultimately, their commitment to obey the Great Commission by planting churches cost them their lives. Speaking of the Great Commission itself is a call to start new churches. Spoken by Jesus in Matthew 28:19 through 20, the Great Commission is essentially a call to plant new churches. We can say this because baptizing, teaching, and making disciples, that's exactly what churches do, right? I mean, churches do that. That's the job description of the local church. And so, baptizing, teaching, and making disciples is the job description of the local church. And when Jesus says go and do that, he's saying go and do the church. Additionally, that dozen men that heard Jesus say that, how did they respond to what Jesus said? Well, the book of Acts tells us that they spent their entire lives establishing new churches. So my question is, if we hear the Great Commission and respond in a different way than the apostles did, who do you think misunderstood it?